Hello, Toonkind D&D. My name is Vamp, and I am playing in a Toonkind 12 FPS today with this my lovely, wonderful RP partner Oatmeal.
Oh.
Today I'll be playing Sleeper, the very depressed devil.
hmm
And Oatmeal, why don't you introduce your own character?
Hello. Yes. I am indeed Oatmeal. I'll be playing the professor. Um, who's had some interesting interactions with Sleeper. Um, I mean, the way they met was like, uh,
Awful.
yeah, it was like, yeah, that one was called "Stop Being Old." That was terrible. The professor, very much bullied and harassed Sleeper in a way that was legitimately bad, and he had to apologize later.
Yeah, it was certainly eventful, but yeah, I've since gotten some more positive interactions and
hmm
some hilarious ones as well.
hmm
Um, Montage of this probably plays in Professor's head as he's heading to the Layton household today.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I think today the ellipsis is parked in the Leighton house. Um, and so he just has to come in through the garage. Uh, and he goes up to it's either the kitchen or the living space that has the rafters that Sleeper hangs
He,
out on.
it would probably be the Raptors, and
Mm-hmm.
Sleeper is awake right now,
Mm-hmm.
which is still pretty uncommon for him. Although
Yeah.
it is getting a little more common recently. Do not mention it to him, however. Um, but yeah, he is currently awake right now, and he seems to be sulking a bit actually.
No.
And you hear does Professor knows Infernal?
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, okay. You can tell Sleeper's pouting and sulking and saying something in another language, but it's
Uh-huh.
not one that Professor knows.
Yeah, he might be able to recognize it, but he can't speak it.
Yeah, he probably would recognize it as Infernal just because of how distinctive Infernal is, even with the different dialects, so to speak. And
Yeah.
also because what other language can Sleeper be speaking?
Right, he's the devil. He's not speaking Aquan.
Yeah. Maybe Ignan or deep
Maybe.
speech, but
There.
not it's if it looks like a duck and looks like a duck,
It's probably Duck.
yeah, it probably quacks like a duck as well.
Yeah.
In any case, how stealthy is Professor being?
I don't think he's being stealthy. I think he's just walking over there. Um, uh, he just kind of like stops. Hello.
Sleeper kind of glances over and he turns around so that he's stretched on the rafter,
Mm-hmm.
to be facing Professor,
Mm-hmm.
like chin on one hand, and he goes, "Oh, Professor, have you recovered?"
Oh, come on.
And you see him crack a small grin.
Okay, so if you're gonna be rude, then maybe I won't show you my garden like I was planning. And he turns
And
around.
Sleeper's ear does twitch. You do have his attention. However, Sleeper just kind of Sleeper just kind of pouts and goes, "You would do this after I gave you such a wonderful kiss as well."
Gave me a wonderful he turns back around. Gave me a wonderful kiss and then canceled the date you invited me on. Even if it
We
was
should,
a fake date.
Is that what you're angry about?
I'm not angry about it.
Upset then? Disappointed?
No. Yes,
Hmm.
maybe a little bit.
We could we could go out for dinner sometime.
Mm, all right.
But in case you mentioned the garden,
I did, yes.
he kind of leans forward and props his chin up on one hand. Goes, I must admit, don't you live in that? What was it called again?
The ellipsis.
Ah, yes, that. Is that bigger on the inside?
It is indeed.
Huh.
I mean,
And you
it'd
have a
be a
garden.
little difficult to live in there, otherwise.
Sleeper does like half like an amused laugh and goes, well, yes, but there's a difference between being slightly bigger on the inside and being big enough to comfortably hold a garden.
Oh, it's big enough to comfortably hold a garden.
And more than one person?
Yes, and more than one person.
Why, how forward of you, Professor. You're inviting me home before our dinner?
Well, the way I see it, I've already been hanging out where you seem to live most of the time. He just gestures around him at the house.
Sleeper like Cartoon Ivory and goes, yes, I mean, I do like stay here, but this isn't necessarily my house.
Well, no, Leo certainly makes it very clear on occasion that it is his house specifically.
I don't want to like godmother or anything since Marcy is not here, but God, I wish Marcy was just so far back up yelling from the other room. Yeah, it is my house, you bitch. Kind of like say that happens because I don't want a godmod and Marcy is not here. But God, I wish.
That's the sort of thing he would probably do. uh,
In that case, yeah, and Sleeper's just like Leo's not good. Leonardo would not be happy about you saying this is my house.
well, it's not your house, but it does seem to be where you live. It's not Jubilee's house, but it's where Jubilee lives.
Jubilee has a house?
No, I mean the house does. This house doesn't
Oh,
belong to Jubilee, but he does live here.
I thought for a moment that Jubilee has alternate living quarters, just as I do.
Uh, oh, you do?
Where do you think I lived before the boys dragged me back here?
Uh, I think as far as I'm aware, you were just found somewhere.
Do you
So
think they picked me off this? Do you think they picked me off the side of a street like a stray?
no, I think you were in a forest, like a stray.
It was a cave, yes, but I did furnish it to be bigger on the inside.
Hmm.
That was back when I had my whole and sleeper kind of like does a little gesture. I
Hmm.
do go back there quite often to tend to my garden and to make sure the will-o-wisps are actually doing their jobs and leading people out of the forest rather than into it.
Who?
Are you familiar with will-o-wisps?
Oh, I see. You what? Command them?
Of sorts, I created those.
Oh.
It was quite a long time ago, back before, and he kind of like gives like a bit of a shrug back
Hmm.
before I went into December. But I did create them
Oh.
because I was getting quite annoyed by how many people were stumbling into the depths of the forest
Hmm.
and then getting lost
Ah. Yeah.
and stumbling into my house.
Ah. Yes.
Our character, that's not the only reason. He
Uh
also
huh.
did it like out of like softy reasons, but like hell, he's admitting that.
Yep, yeah. Oh, well, alright. Uh,
They aren't alive if that's what you're asking. Not in the. They are not sapient.
oh, no, I, um, didn't think so. I was imagining something like the, unseen servant spell. Um, uh, what about. Oh, no, no. I, it makes sense that it took, this particular gang of, uh, nosy kids to, um, actually go in and find you since you set up your, uh, little security force.
Sleeper sighs, and he's just most people, if they arrive in an area that's all desecrated ground
Mm,
in the depths of a forest, when Willow is actively trying to lead them in the opposite direction,
mm.
would in fact try and go the opposite direction.
Most people, but not our friends.
They have to they have to worry about that just a little bit more. Not all fiends are quite as, I suppose, cordial as I am.
Mm, that's true. Well,
In any case, I do have a house, thank you very much.
well, you have a cave.
And you do have a phone box, and yet we're still calling it your house.
All right, touche. Now, are you going to come into my phone box or not?
Well, you have to give me a better invitation than that, Professor. Come now. If we are on third base, I want the works.
What? Repeat what you said?
You have to give me a better invitation than that, Professor. If we are on third base, I want the works. Just being a little shit in case we can't help.
Uh huh. Uh huh. Oh gosh.
I am so sorry.
It's good. Oh, Professor just like puts his hands on his hips, like he was hoping to just get Sleeper like to come in just on the merit of having a garden, but that is not happening. He's being too contrary.
To be fair, like Sleeper will go,
Yeah.
but he also, how should I put this? It's actually good because the more of a little shit he is, the more like mischievous and mischievous and like bold he is.
Yeah.
It usually means the more like good his mental health is on a given day.
Right, right. We've seen him just sort of like start to be a bit of a little shit and then just lose interest completely.
Yeah. If he was not in, like Professor at least knows that if Sleeper was not interested,
Mm-hmm.
he would either be teleporting away by now
Uh-huh.
or like roll over.
Yeah, yeah. Um uh the professor just sort of like puts his hands on his hips and like gives Sleeper a sort of annoyed look, but does sort of like think for a moment. Um, we could have tea as well.
Sleeper, Professor, your Sleeper. Oh, you are terrible at this.
I'm not actually trying to woo you, Sleeper.
I know you are, but I would have you were more of a performer than that.
Yes, but it's different. It's different to perform when I want to and to perform on command.
Sleeper does like Sleeper does climb down at that.
Mm,
and kind of tilts his head and goes, I suppose I can understand that.
mm.
And he will teleport down from the rafter.
All right.
Because Sleeper is a little shit like that. He also hates being told what to do,
Mm,
which
yeah.
is part of why I pointed out anyone actually like said, hey, like you've been like active more, you should do that more often. There's a non-zero chance Sleeper would make himself worse again out of spite.
Ay, ay, ay.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
he's stubborn.
Yeah. All right.
But he's now on the Raptors. You completed my
Raptors puzzle.
you had this too.
The professor leads Sleeper over to the garage and to the ellipsis, which he's certainly seen before. Um, Heck, it
Hmm.
was parked outside the house for almost a year. I think a little over a year. But, yeah. Um, hmm. If you would just mind your head and your wings, well, it's taller
It
on
is
the
tall enough on
inside.
the inside.
Yes.
How big is the doorway though? Like,
It's probably, oh, I want to say, it's probably 7 or 8 feet.
okay, if it's 8 feet, Sleeper can walk in because he's about 8. I think he's about 8 feet-ish with the horns. I'm trying to like remember his height. It's been a while.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's right. I think because he's like about a foot taller than Tome, and Tome's 7 feet. Um,
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, so I think if it's 7 feet, then he's gonna have to duck
yeah. Well,
like
even
quite badly.
yeah,
If
even
it's
eight.
8 feet, he can just make it.
Yeah, yeah. Still, probably best to, you know, mind his head.
Yeah, the thing that's does like seem to give him a bit of trouble though
Mm,
is folding like his wings up
mm,
because like those are like if like you've seen the Sleeper's character sheet,
mm,
those aren't like traditional like wings on back. Those
mm,
are like more like realistic wings that jut out of his shoulder. So while he can fold them,
mm,
they're it's super hard to like completely fold them.
mm, mm.
It's
Yeah,
more like tucked in.
yeah, yeah. They tuck in a little bit, but they don't like completely fold back neatly.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
So like it probably does take him a moment and some maneuvering because getting like tucked in does like make the wings like shut up like higher if that makes sense.
Mm, yeah, yeah,
But like he does manage to like duck in eventually.
yeah. Yeah, and then it opens up right away inside. It's very bright. It's an open space, a decently sized room, 30 by 30 feet, with
Hmm.
not much going on in it except for a high tech looking console with um, uh, blinking lights uh, and all manner of controls and instruments and stuff.
Sleeper's ear kind of twitches as he looks around. And he kind of glances at like Professor
Mm.
and goes, quite empty, isn't it?
Say again?
Quite empty, isn't it?
Well, yes, the console room is mostly empty. Um, there's more. He sort of like
Ah,
he points at he points at a part of the wall which has a bunch of like hexagonal panels, and you can see now, you know, it wasn't quite obvious that the outline of an interior door.
Sleeper kind of like nods and goes, ah, that makes more sense.
Mm-hmm. This is.
Still, I'm quite surprised no one has given you a gaudy like. I'm trying to remember like what the name for it was. You know those bubble hats that people put like on their like at the front of their car while they
Uh,
drive?
uh-huh. Yeah, yeah, I don't know if there's another name for it. I just call them bobbleheads.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, well, the car bubble hat specifically. Sleeper's
yeah.
just like I'm surprised no one has given you some sort of gaudy ornament like one of those bubble hats.
Hmm. He sort of tilts his head and shrugs. I think they respect her too much for that.
Sleeper kind of like looks at Professor like, is there something wrong with gaudy like bubble hats?
No, it's just putting those things on the console. It's liable to press something that it shouldn't. Um,
It makes more sense. Sleeper like subsides because he does like have. I'm sorry to say that when he is not depressed, Sleeper does like get such a kick out of stuff like that.
uh huh, uh huh.
Like unironically, you like if you were to enter like his actual like living space, there are so many fucking plushies.
Mm-hmm. I have,
Like his rooms would be decorated like from top to bottom.
yeah, yeah. I have plenty of tchotchkes in other rooms, but in here, I do like to keep it relatively clear. Uh, but yes, let's keep going. I'll show you the garden. He goes to the
All right.
door and it opens on its own. And there's a hallway. Uh,
Okay, and Sleeper like kind of like lets Professor like lead him.
mhm. Do you want to roll a perception?
Sure, perception, perception, perception. Okay, Google Docs refresh because I've been like away. Let me get that again. Let's see, his perception would be that is a solid +1.
Okay, fair.
Not the worst, not his dumb stuff, thankfully.
Yeah.
Oh my lord! For those listening, that was a nat 20.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Um, holy shit. All right. Not 20. You notice a lot. There is you notice a sort of since you stepped in, a sort of ever-present kind of low hum um, that might be that you might expect from a uh, machine that's operating like like a refrigerator or something. You know, you can tell when it's live and when it's not. Um,
Hmm.
uh, and um, you uh, it's very clean. It's very Spartan, at least in the hall in the console room. Um, like like the professor said, there isn't a whole bunch of like trinkets, at least out on display. There's certainly a bit of a mess in the hidden cupboards, but you didn't see those. Um, uh,
Do you like mental image a professor just like putting everything that's like unsorted even into the cabinets? Like it's not a mess until you open up the door.
uh huh, uh huh. Yeah. Um, Down the hallway, it's got the same sort of hexagonal wall panels as the console room. The lighting is pretty bright, um, and there are a bunch of different doors along the side. One or two of them look the same as the wall. They sort of match the theme. Other ones absolutely don't. They look like a wooden door that you would probably find in a house. There's like a weird stone looking door. There's something with like a convoluted sort of locking mechanism. Um, there's a pair of, as you keep going, there's a pair of like ornate, like huge ornate looking double doors. Um, and yeah, so there's a lot of space in here. Um,
Yeah,
uh,
quite a lot. Honestly
yeah,
impressed. Like, don't get me wrong, like his place is also bigger on the inside, but he didn't really, even back then, he didn't really put in that much effort to make it super big
mhm.
because he was well, he was depressed.
Yeah, yeah. And he was living alone. Like, you only need so much space. This is probably more than the professor strictly needs.
Yeah.
Like one or two of the rooms that actually have windows in them, like in their doors that you can see inside. It's like, it's not a closet. That's a whole ass room in there. This one's a laboratory. Um, like it's kind of set up like you would expect there to be more people in here. Multiple lab stations or, multiple washers in the laundry room, etc.
Yeah. And I think Sleeper does take notice of that and goes, "Did you live here with someone before?"
I did. I've uh, lived here with a few different people. Um, it was. Uh, I didn't make it. There was a previous owner
Of the space?
of the ellipsis.
Ah. So are there just rooms here that came from the previous owner?
There are a few. Most of them, well, I had to sort of overhaul the ellipsis. Most of the ones that were truly extraneous, I got rid of. But, so most of the things in here are, um, he sort of shrugs, like either my doing or altered from uh, something before.
Oatmeal?
Yeah, hello?
Yeah, you said altered altered for either for my doing or something for and then
Oh, I.
and then like you
Oh, all I said was altered from something before.
oh something before. I thought you said something for, so I
Oh,
was waiting for you to finish the
got it.
sentence.
Yeah, yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah, Sleeper kind of like nods like that's it. Then goes, have you explored the whole space then?
Yes. I know this place inside and out.
Hmm. You must
You can,
Sleeper
you
kind
can.
of like,
Do you want to insight? Because that was a flat out lie.
all right, sure. Let's insight. Sleeper's insight is so good, you guys. His insight is so great. I have all the faith in him.
That's a 12. You're not. You don't fully believe him. He says it
In
very
that case,
offhand.
Sleeper kind of looks at like Professor, and he just slowly raises an eyebrow.
He just grins and keeps walking.
Well, at least it must keep you guessing.
Oh, she does that.
I'm just imagining the ellipsis like rumbling like in response.
Honestly, she might. Tell me, does Sleeper like? Well, you got a good perception. Does Sleeper like wear shoes? Cause he's got like clawed feet, right?
he's got hooves.
He's got hooves. Okay, I forgot.
Like they're kind of he's kind of like I can't remember what the name was. Is it Digitrade?
Yeah, yeah. Digitigrade or oh god, I can't
Yeah,
pronounce it either.
he,
That one.
he, yeah. He's got a weird like it doesn't like look like any specific one animal because he's not
Yeah,
any specific one animal, but
yeah,
it's kind of like they are cloven hooves, but
yeah.
they're also like able to like separate into like they're also kind of like more like separate and mobile than like actual cloven hooves.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Cool. Uh,
In any case, yeah, like if when he's walking like relaxed and not walking like with his like feet up, like he is basically walking barefoot.
yeah, yeah. Well, then yeah, he and especially with that nat 20 perception, he probably does feel the sort of uh the sort of like vibration in the air increase and like there's a slight sort of vibration in the floor as well.
Yeah, and Sleeper kind of does reach out to like tap the wall.
uh, Something wrong?
No, I believe she was agreeing with you there.
All right. Let's see. Here. He goes up to one of the doors. I don't remember how I described it before, but it could very well have changed.
It's
So,
okay. It's fine. It's all right.
yeah. So, I think it's just a sort of regular pair of double doors, not the big ornate ones. Uh, but he goes and opens them, and there's a um, humongous space inside. It looks like you're outdoors. You can't see the ceiling. You're pretty sure there are clouds. Um, there is a uh, what's the word? A stone path um, leading through some sort of uh, like half unfamiliar wildflowers and grasses and stuff into a very, very large garden.
Roll perception, Professor.
Certainly. Okay, this is. Perception is. Right, okay, 22.
Oh gosh, 22. All right. With a 22, Professor does see like for a moment, like Professor does feel like almost like unbidden, like it's like uncontrollable, and Sleeper doesn't like quite like get it off like his face in time. Like a like huge like smile like stretch across Sleeper's face,
Oh,
and you have never seen Sleeper smile like that.
no.
Like never. This is like it honestly does like transform his face a little. Like you've always known like Sleeper was pretty because like look at him.
Yeah.
But like when he's like smiling, even with like his sharp teeth, like it honestly does transform like his face a little. Because like you know when some people like smile and like it doesn't matter what they look like or anything because you can like tell that they have like so much like giddy joy
Yeah.
in them and that like smile that it beams like from their face and it's just like really like lovely if that makes sense.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, it is that kind of smile, but it does only last a moment because Sleeper catches himself
Uh
and
huh.
like between one moment and the next he does kind of like regain like his composure
Uh huh.
and the smile does like drop to something like more like sedated, I guess is the word, and tinge with a little bit of like melancholy.
Uh huh. Uh huh.
But it was there for a moment.
Nice. This is my garden. Um, it's about um, it's about let's see. Did I have any? Actually, I think it's older than I am. Now that I think about it. Granted, it wasn't this nice when I started, but I've been working on it for about 600 years.
Hmm. I am surprised that you like gardening so much.
Uh, I. It's not my maybe preferred uh, sort of recreation nowadays, but I used to be a little different.
Me out of character, a past iteration of Professor.
Uh huh.
Yeah. In any case, Sleeper will like walk forward to look at the flowers. And what state are the flowers in? Are they like flourishing?
Oh yeah. They're basically like in their ideal state. Like you would find them like in in nature in their own environment. You know, flourishing. You know, healthy plants. Um, not not like over tended or or what's the word like I don't know, clipped down too much. Like people who like shape flowers, like into a thing like a certain shape like on purpose. Um, they're not manipulated too much, but there are signs of care, like I think peonies is the flower that um, the 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 dead heads have been taken off, and like um, any sort of like dead branches have been pruned away so that the plant can keep growing. um, and there's a few uh, there's like a sapling with a stake next to it, tied to it, so that it, can sort of stand upright.
Mm-hmm. And like Sleeper kind of like just to like take all this in. And especially now, like with the sunlight and the sky, like he does like spread his wings, like he stops like tucking them in since there's space.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's just kind of like no you I know you said that this is no longer your preferred activity, but they're quite well taken care of.
Can you repeat that for me, please?
Oh, I know you said this is no longer your preferred activity, but they're quite well taken care of.
Thank you. I do still enjoy it. I'm a little more of a thrill seeker than I used to be. Uh,
Sleeper kind of like cracks a small smile and goes, "You don't say."
uh, but gardening is still relaxing and quite enjoyable, I think. Um, I like learning about different plants, different flowers. Uh, in fact, uh, one of the first degrees I got was in botany.
First,
If you think I stopped at 1 degree in 700 years, you're crazy.
well, I suppose that does make sense, but I did not expect you to be the type to enjoy sitting in the classroom.
I didn't.
Sleeper raises an eyebrow.
I did not enjoy school. Um, especially when I was younger. When I was older, though, it's a little different.
More
Uh,
tolerable?
yes, well, for one thing, people respect you when you're not yay high. He sort of like uh, he sort of like does like 4 feet off the ground with his hand.
Sleeper kind of like, kind of like, his ears kind of flick, and he goes, "Well, I would not understand that." Because, Sleeper was never like a child.
Yeah,
How?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he kind of goes, "Well, I would not understand that." But
Mm.
people respect Camille, no?
What was that?
He said people respect Camille, no?
Uh, I would say a lot of them do. Um, I think some people, though, are still uh, the sort of people who don't really treat children like people, and that's going to
Hmm.
include Camille, unfortunately.
See, like Sleeper kind of like not. For kind of like tilting his head and going like, "Were you a Hellion child then?
Was I a what?
A Hellion child?"
Not okay, maybe.
Sleeper like house like an amused nod and goes, "So that's some more in character. Her, have you?"
Sorry, could you say it again?
Oh, that does sound more in character of you. I do apologize. I think my earbuds are beginning to lose their battery.
Ah,
Yeah, but but yeah, he's like that does sound more in character of yes.
yes. I yeah, I didn't much like the academy, but when I was older, um, it was uh, much easier to, I if I was taking a class, it was uh, as an adult, and I was considered more of a peer to my teachers, uh, particularly as someone with already with doctorate credentials, than as um, a student.
I suppose that would go a long way to make it more tolerable for you.
Mhm. At least the sort of student that the sort of connotation of student that kind of uh, gets you less respect.
Hmm, suppose I wouldn't understand that either.
Hmm. You never went to school?
Sleeper kind of like gives Professor a look and gestures at all.
He just like throws his hands up like you could have gone to school. That doesn't exclude you from having gone to school necessarily.
To give you an idea, I do believe there were some schools who used my likeness as an illusionary, as I suppose the best word to put it, as the final boss for some of the combat training that their classes did.
That in a respectful way or a not respectful way?
He kind of like gives a shrug and goes, they had never met me, so make of that what you will."
Hmm. Interesting.
Yes. Yeah, out of character. That is actually true, by the way. Like when 6-year-old Arle, the final fucking boss of her like kindergarten like gauntlet, like training exam, like graduation exam,
uh,
is an illusion of him. They hadn't even met at the time.
that's incredible. my
the
gosh.
tower is called the tower is called like the Dark Prince's Tower, and like there is no indication whatsoever that he had ever actually like been to the tower in any of the later games. And I
Uh-huh.
was like, why the fuck do they have an illusion of him? And Fletch was like, well, I guess if you're doing like a graduation exam for like a graduation for like the training like mages go under and like training and stuff defense, you would make like your final boss, like the devil, the king of hell.
Yeah, you might as well. Oh, that's wild.
Yeah, but yeah, like again, like I'm trying to remember. Does Prof know that he was like super high? Know he like I remember he got some information from Legend Lore,
Yeah.
but I don't remember what specific details that he had.
He got most of his titles, so he does know that he was like the king of hell. Uh, Grand Emperor, whatever.
Yeah, there were. Yeah, so like in this case, when Sleeper kind of like gave a shrug when he was asked like, did they mean it in a disrespectful or respectful way? It was kind of a like, it's the equivalent of like someone like making like a simulation or training hologram of like say Zariel.
Uh huh.
Like you don't have strong feelings against her. Like
Uh
it's not something like done out of malice. It's just like that's like a queen that you're probably like gonna be fighting like one day. That's like kind of like a mythological figure to like most people.
yeah, yeah. It's kind of mixed. It's acknowledging that they're
Yeah,
very powerful, but it might not be in a nice way.
yeah, but at the same time, it's also not like mean in a personal way.
Oh
It's
yeah.
just like
It's
this
not.
is not someone like you kind of see as a person.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is a mythological figure.
Right, right. As an image, not. Yeah. It's not personal.
Yeah. And he kind of like shrugs his shoulders and goes, I did learn a few things, of course, in the time that I've been alive, but
I would hope
I'm
so.
never gone. And like Sleeper like snorts and flicks some soil like to Professor. But I've never gone to school. And the closest I had ever gone to school was impersonating a headmaster for a little bit of teamwork. But
Impersonating a headmaster?
it was not difficult. There was only one person who recognized me then, and and Sleeper actually does like quiet, like as like as like he trails off and like his ears kind of like flick downwards,
Uh huh. For shame. Why were
and
you? Why were you? Why were you? What's? You just said the word. Uh, impersonating a
impersonating
headmaster.
sleep. This Sleeper does get distracted from the like because that was about to like plunge him into like deep like melancholy, but he does get distracted. He
Uh
goes
huh.
like he just kind of goes, why do you have such strong feelings about impersonating a headmaster?
uh, well, I had to. In the past few years, I did have to. I did have to fight somebody who was. I suppose she was technically actually the headmistress, but she was. She was also um, secretly a dragon who was taking advantage of the entire university, so I did have to defeat her.
Sleeper like pops and he goes, I did nothing of that stuff, I can assure you.
Well,
It
I'm
was
glad.
for it was for a little scheme. I did not kill anyone to do that impersonation.
Well, oh
Quite
well.
honestly, I'm not sure where the actual headmaster was. He was supposed to be there, but he never arrived, so I just took his place from his scheme.
Hmm. Well,
And
oh
I'll
well.
have you know that I did the job quite well. And Sleeper Sleeper does like a little hoity-toity tone.
Uh huh. Was this other headmaster also 8 foot tall and blue?
Well, I used to be able to shapeshift.
Ah. Well, that would make things easier.
But quite honestly, I did not shapeshift my hideaway. I only hit the horns and the wings and the hooves.
Hmm. So, where did you get your interest in gardening?
Well, the flowers were the one of the first things I got introduced to on the modeling.
Oh, that's nice.
And although had and I always had a fondness and appreciation for them, I suppose I began picking up gardening and interest a bit after I met a group of people that a group of people that reminded me of that interest.
Hmm. He notes the particular wording and decides it's probably best not to pry.
Yeah, comes up like getting Sleeper to talk about his past at all is
Uh,
already a Herculean feat. And like you can clearly tell that there are like emotional minefields here, even
yeah,
just by the way he tried off earlier.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. In any case, he kind of like shakes his head and goes, but gardening is not all I do. I'll have you know. I'm quite the accomplished person myself.
Uh,
Well, I can play instruments, as you well know. And like Professor has probably like at this point seen like Sleeper like help to Billy with the piano once or twice.
certainly, certainly.
Yeah. And I am quite fond of games, as you very much know.
Uh huh. He rolls his eyes.
Especially poker. You do still own your card game.
Oh, yes, right. Uh,
Aside from games and music, I suppose you could call me a
say that again? Call me what?
jack of all trades.
Ah. The professor nods. That's a good thing to be.
Mhm. And a necessary thing given my role.
Mm.
But there was one thing that I did keep from, that I did keep, even if I am no longer able to shapeshift.
Oh.
And like Professor C Sleeper, like put his hand on his mouth, right?
Uh huh. Hello? Hello? Vamp? Can you hear me?
Aubrey?
Hello?
Oh God, she's dead.
Uh,
Hello?
hi.
I think it rebooted or something for me.
Oh. Uh,
Yep. But yeah, no, I rolled like okay, so that roll, that 23,
yeah.
is for the actor feat.
Ah, very nice.
And he can like in fact like mimic the speech of another person or sounds of another person, right? So
yeah.
like Professor is like Sleeper like kind of put like his hand over his mouth and like when he takes it off like he speaks in like Professor's like perfect like cadence and voice. I can still very much borrow someone else's tongue.
ah, I see. very good. I used to be able to do that
Oh, were you?
a long time ago.
Did you also have a silver tongue then?
Uh, oh, a silver tongue. You could say that.
Sleeper, sleeper snorts like mild amusement. Because he does actually have a silver tongue. His tongue is actually silver and hard. It's just that like I don't think Professor would have ever gotten like the chance to like see it.
I mean, they did kiss.
Okay, let's be honest though. Was Professor in the state to be noticing anything there?
Oh, probably not. Not with his uh, terrible wisdom roll.
He rolled a
Yeah.
Sleeper just resolving not to tell Professor and to see how long it takes for Professor to like realize he was being literal.
Uh huh. He just sort of like tilts his head at Sleeper, like he doesn't really know what he's getting at.
Sleeper just like shrugs and gives like a small smile and he goes like, "We'll see how long it takes for you to figure that out before moving on." Well, before moving on like easily as he like takes a look and he notices and he actually seems drawn to the sunflowers, which he does like pay like close attention to.
Uh-huh.
Quite beautiful sunflowers you have me.
Mm, thank you.
And he kind of like kind of like he just kind of like examines them and like you know when you're looking at flower and you're touching the flower like
Yeah.
and like like examining them. I have like no better word for it. Like I can't quite say caressing because that has like stranger connotations, but you know.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're you're just kind of messing with it a little bit,
Yeah.
holding
And
it.
Sleeper has those. Do you remember Kataijin, the goddess that you met?
Yes.
She's the sun goddess, you know.
Yes, you told me. Uh, I had not realized.
You didn't know
I realized that they weren't normal wolves. Um, I knew that from the start. But knew they were realized they were celestial. Didn't realize they were gods specifically.
that? Well, he's one of the better ones. I can say that much.
Yes, I agree.
In any case, I do have sunflowers of my own in my garden.
Mm,
But given how deep in the forest they are, they need more attention than some of my other flowers.
mm,
And she has, in fact, offered to visit every now and then to
mm.
give them the sunlight that they need. I suppose it is fitting sunflowers and the sun goddess.
That's very sweet.
It is quite sweet. Um, it helps that she's a dog.
Has a
And
has she always been a dog since you've known her?
yes, but I suspect that that was not her original fate, or she had an original fate beforehand.
Hmm.
Perhaps. I do not know. She has in any case, she is a dog now.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of like puts his head on his chin. He puts his chin on his hand and goes, um, wait, actually, I can't say this.
Uh,
Oh, character. He was gonna say he was gonna say like, oh, and like given like the blue butterfly, like given that the
uh,
blue butterfly and her like might be the same pantheon, perhaps like the entire but like I can't. say that because I think Professor knows about the blue butterfly.
He knows way too much about the blue butterfly. Yeah.
Yeah,
This
well, that would be like a loaded smoking gun of a spoiler.
yeah, no, we would want to have Avi on hand before we had them exchange that information.
Yeah, so he starts to say something, but I don't know, some pollen like gets like in here. He like does this little like cat sneeze, gets cut off. Just ugh. Anyway, he also has quite an adorable son.
Oh, yes. Diger's very
Hmm.
cute.
And then he kind of like glances at Professor and goes, "They were not digging up any holes or flowers when you spot them, right?"
Well, no,
All right.
we were
And
fishing.
he kind of nods. All right, good. I would hope that they have not dug up my garden while I was away.
He just sort of shrugs. No promises.
Hmm. Levi kind of like glances at the sunflowers for a bit longer before sighing and going, "I do hope Arada and his boyfriend manage to win those flowers."
Yes, I suppose they'll probably do fairly well um, in where where you live. Although you might need to, well, I suppose it'll depend on what kind of flower. As I understand it, some Underdark species are completely sunlight intolerant, while others can handle it, although they usually don't like it very much.
I would hope that it's. I would hope that they're tolerant of sunlight, given that they're prized in the first place. But I suppose we will have to see. The poster did not give much detail in that regard.
Mm. As a matter of fact, I think I have a few. I think I have a few species, but they're uh, a good ways through the garden yet. Um, I've got a few different sort of environmental setups, some with a bit more um, sort of rain, some with less, um, warmer, colder.
I have been meaning to ask, is this all a pocket dimension then? And he gestures at the sky.
Uh, it's not a pocket dimension in the usual sense, no. It's an extra dimensional space, which is
Hmm.
similar, but mechanically not quite the same. It doesn't. Um, eh, it doesn't exist in the same space, um, strictly speaking. This is still the interior of the ellipsis. Um,
I suppose that makes sense.
mhm.
And he kind of like stands up, dusts himself off, and like again his wings are spread, and this feels like Professor can see like the stars. They're quite like pretty, like the stars like do shift and the sky does like shimmer, like when Sleeper moves. Lead the way then.
All right. He'll.
And
Yeah.
and kind of like as they walk, like Sleeper will like ask kind of like you know, I have to ask why did you invite me here in the first place?
Well, just felt like it, I suppose.
Hmm.
I finally picked up on the fact that you really like flowers, and well, I have this. uh, and I like sharing my garden.
Okay, that's a rather beautiful one, yes.
Hmm. Thank you.
Like, Professor does get a small smile from Sleeper, not like the beaming joy, like
Yeah.
the unrestrained joy of like earlier,
Yeah.
but it's hard.
Professor, they probably like trek through. It's a decently long walk to an area that uh, there's basically what seems like an artificial cave with like a few bends so that like sunlight really can't get in there. Um,
Mhm.
and then it opens into a little area with some more uh, different, sort of odd looking plants that some of them are from the Underdark, others are just uh, probably from alien planets. Um, but, some of them are bioluminescent. Uh, so you can see in here. I mean, the professor has dark vision anyway, but yeah, there's a few. There's a few different varieties of plants down here, and
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Sleeper has dark vision. I mean, check. Yeah, he has dark vision.
nice.
Yeah, and I do think like in the dark, yeah, his golden eyes do glow a little.
The professor's eyes just have like this sort of cat-like reflective orange sheen.
Sleeper's like Sleeper's eyes are like I'm trying to remember. Are split pupils are dilate when in the dark, right?
Yes, in the dark they get round.
Uh, His eyes do not quite go completely around, but they do dilate like a little bit. They're still slitted though.
Nice, interesting.
In any case, like he is like going to like look over the flowers,
uh
and he's just have sorry he's just have you been collecting all the 700 years you were alive then collecting these?
Uh, Not all 700. Uh, Maybe about 600 of them. Um, I acquired this ellipsis when I was 86 and uh, traveled for a bit before I really started uh, working on this garden.
Hmm. You travel a lot, don't you?
I do.
I can understand that.
Mm. Do you travel much? Or did you?
Not right now, no, but I did, yes. I do think that I knew the place where I lived in the now.
Can you say that again?
He knew the place that he lived like in and out.
Ah, ah. The professor nods. Well, I suppose if you lived that long, uh, that would be plausible.
Sleeper does not and go. Sleeper does not and kind of goes. You know, why were you so upset when I told you how old I was?
Uh, it's just some stupid old um, prejudices from the culture I came from. Um,
Oh,
we have uh, we have sort of a thing against uh, gods and other immortals. Uh, Particularly gods, other immortals sort of just get drawn in by association. Um, we uh, we worked very hard to get the longevity that we have, and to, well, make it as a civilization as long as we have. Uh, and when we were starting out, we uh, appealed to the gods once we discovered them, but they were no help at all. And in fact, um, were actively messing with us, using us like toys.
roll insight.
Uh huh. All right, that's pretty good. That's 21.
Okay, so you are like saying all this, and you get the sense that Sleeper like does empathize,
Uh huh.
like, which isn't a surprise, like given what he said about Contagion being like one of the good ones, and
Yeah.
also the fact that he's a fiend is probably like a safe guess to say that he has not had much good interactions with gods,
Yeah.
and that like gods in general are probably and gods in general are pretty awful anyway.
Uh huh. Uh-huh.
Yeah, so like that much is not a surprise. Like, he does seem to especially empathize with like them being treated like toys. And
Uh-huh.
Zero kind of flicks and he goes like, "That was unfair to you."
He just sort of shrugs. Uh, I suppose most of it was before my time. Uh,
Hmm.
Although we certainly don't have. Well, uh, I suppose we have sort of not very much relationships with gods, which is better than the relationships we did have. Um, eh, it's hmm. But yes, that did sort of uh, predispose me to not appreciate gods and other immortals very much, and uh, eh, applying that to you, having not really known you much at all, was entirely unfair.
I hate that the thing Sleeper handed me was not the worst thing you've done. And like not the
God.
worst thing like Professor has done in like response to Sleeper or to Sleeper.
Oy. Well, it wasn't.
He's not meaning it meanly, but like the fact that that's like his comment.
Uh huh. Does he say it?
Yes, he does say it.
Uh, Professor sort of frowns at him. I did apologize.
I know, I did not mean that I did not mean that crudely. I was just stating that us like statement of fact. I would not dwell on dwell on that. Um, he was meaning that in a well, you kind of like fucked up like worse than that. Like so I wouldn't be guilty over like the initial like knee-jerk like reaction
Uh huh.
kind of way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. Well, fair enough.
But it's so funny. Yeah.
Well, all right.
Honestly, yeah. And I do think that sleeper and like is like looking at like the flowers, like he does start humming a little, and
Uh,
it's very nice. He has a nice voice. He sings like quite well.
nice.
And I think like they would probably look through the flowers like some more together,
Yeah.
but eventually like he kind of like you offered me tea, or was that simply because I was teasing you?
Oh no, uh, we should get some tea. Uh, we'll have to
Mm.
get back to the doors, but after that, the kitchen.
I
They'll,
wouldn't.
sorry,
You first, you first.
they'll have to trek through the garden again because there's only one set of doors.
I think Sleeper does comment on it a bit, just kind of like I would expect with how much space you have and how everything's like constructed that you would have more than one door here.
Uh, he sort of like thinks for a moment and then shrugs like, honestly, not really up to me. Uh, that's really a her thing.
And Sleeper, I love Sleeper just like handing me like saying like to Ellipsis like I don't suppose you would give us a nearer door. Hey, we're trying.
Uh huh. I think um they're on part of the stone walkway, and what she does is she gives them a trapdoor. Um, the walkway sort of falls away underneath them, and they land in a hallway.
Sleeper can like Sleeper has like this huge wings. So as like they like fall into the hallway, like he lands like perfectly fine.
Uh huh. I'm gonna roll Dex to see how Professor does. Okay, not great. I think he got a 10. Wait, no, 11. Alright, that's a little better.
That's a little better. He doesn't fall on his ass, but he probably does like stumble and like does the windmill arm.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, come on, you could at least give me a warning.
Sleeper kind of like turns and goes and parrots like not up to me.
Not you. I was talking to her.
Well, I suppose she just likes me better. And this is like clearly like a joke.
Uh alright, kitchen, kitchen. There it is.
Hmm.
And
You
he'll.
will be teaching me that game of card of yours, will you?
Oh, of course. Let
Hmm.
me. Hang on. I need a deck first. I don't think I have any in my pockets. Kitchen's right there. I'm just going to get a deck. And he'll duck into one of the other rooms, um, which happens to be a bedroom. He's in fact, um, but he does just sort of like go to a drawer and rummage through it and extract a deck of cards, which are kind of hexagonal. Like they're long hexagons, so they're still vaguely
Mhm.
card shaped, but they're kind of hexagonal and they're a little shiny, shivery.
Hmm. And Sleeper does like to take them.
All right, I'll make tea. You familiarize yourself with the deck.
Do I have to roll something for this? Intelligence?
Uh, nah. Um, I don't know. I guess I could ask if you have like a games proficiency.
He does,
Uh,
I think. I did not put it like on his sheet though, but I could swear like he has like proficiency in one of the like D&D like games that you can have for gaming sets.
yeah, yeah. Um,
I know. I think it was either Dragon Cast or like the dice. I'm pretty
ah,
sure it might have been the dice.
uh-huh, uh-huh. Um, huh. Well, that may or may not, help in this game. Yeah, actually, yeah, it will help. Because a moment later, I completely forgot about this part. The professor hands over a pair of six-sided dice.
And you see like super like grin as soon as the dice are broken up. And I should say like dice have been like associated with devils for quite a long time. I
Yeah,
mean snake eyes are like
yeah,
considered like a devil thing.
yeah, yeah. um, Let me think. I think the professor would have funky die. What are his die like? Um, I think they're
Dragon
probably
Eye die?
no, I think they're like chrome. Like the not painted at all. They're just like chrome plated die. Very, very shiny.
Interesting. Interesting die you have here.
They were a gift from a friend.
Ah, that makes sense. And I suppose I'm not gonna make you run through the rules of this game because
Uh,
from what I hear, like it's super complicated.
it's super complicated to the point where it's kind of a fake game. Uh, that like they've tried to make several actual games out of it, but none of them are like right. So besides the book I would reference is like at home. So uh, I couldn't even quote the rules at you anyway.
Yeah, that makes sense. So like I rather than like make you explain the game, we can probably just roll for it.
Yeah, yeah, you could roll for it.
What what would that be?
Um, I think it probably would be intelligence plus your game proficiency.
So that would be intelligence plus 4.
Yeah.
Okay, so in that case, his intelligence isn't bad. It's like, oh wait, I forgot. His intelligence is a +0.
Oh, that's
I
not.
could have sworn it was his wisdom that was a plus 0, and like his intelligence was the +1. But I think they're switched around.
Uh, Hey, that's not bad. A zero is a perfectly respectable stat.
Yeah, it's not his thumb stat, but it is more on the lower end for him.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
It's average.
what about you?
What did you say? You got what?
What did you roll?
Oh, I didn't roll anything because Professor already knows how to play the game.
Oh, that's true. In that case, let
I
me
thought.
just.
Sorry, I thought you were rolling just to figure
Oh,
out. Do you want to
oh,
roll?
that's a 21.
Okay, 21. Uh, yeah, Sleeper can figure out the game pretty well. The professor tells him some of the rules uh,
Mm-hmm.
as he prepares tea and serves it, and Sleeper uh, quickly understands how many of each type of card are in the deck and what the values are, even though they're sort of unfamiliar uh, symbols and names and stuff. Um,
Yeah. I
uh,
guess this makes sense though, because he's like so old, he's seen a lot of like games like come into conception. And
Absolutely.
even if this is like a different realities games, like there's going to be some stuff in common.
Yeah. And the professor explains how there's like you can play without die, but there is a version of the game with die that sort of changes things a little bit. And one of the features of the game that is important to realize is that partway through like a round, um, everyone's card changes. Like there's like a randomizer. The literal face of the card changes to a different type of card. Uh,
No, I didn't see why you said this is like nearly like
Sorry, say again.
I can get why you said that it's so complicated. It's
Yeah,
like not easy.
yeah. It's oh, I should clarify. Not all the cards. You basically take some of the cards in your deck and put them down, and those get randomized, and then you get your card back.
Okay, okay.
So there's a way to, you can risk it for a higher value, or you can risk it and get a bad value. Um, but yeah, so Sleeper definitely understands this game. Uh, they
He
could.
actually must get really quick, yeah.
You're really muffled.
Oh, sorry. He actually catches on to it pretty quick.
You're muffled and quiet.
Oh, is it my hair? Give me 1 second. Is this better?
Um, no, I can barely hear you.
Hold on. Uh,
That's better.
hello?
Hi.
All right, so okay, so this is good. But yeah, like he probably catches on at a very like pretty quickly, like more so that like um Professor like expected.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you want to roll for them to play around then to see how they do?
Yeah, sure. Why are we rolling?
Nice. Probably the same thing. Intelligence with gaming proficiency. Um,
Okay, I have no faith in him.
hey, that's fine. Professor's intelligence is only a +1. So, oh god,
Hello?
this is absolutely ridiculous.
Did you crit?
Hang on.
Uh-oh.
This plus.
Oh my God, Professor? Okay, I'm gonna roll for sleeper,
Yeah.
and I'm also adding something here.
Uh.
So sleeper is a fiend warlock, which means he gets dark one slot.
Oh my gosh. That's not fair. Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, so Professor and Sleeper start the game,
Uh-huh.
and Sleeper wipes the floor with Professor.
Uh-huh.
And like Sleeper wipes the floor with Professor to the point that Professor probably examines the dice just to be sure they're not weighted.
Yeah. He's like, did you do something to them?
Sleeper looks mildly offended, and he just goes, "You're challenging a fiend to a game."
uh,
But but no, I did not do anything with them. Given I do play a lot of games with Guy, and
mm,
played them long enough, you start learning exactly how to throw to get the rolls that you want. It's not like waiting to die
uh,
necessarily. It's literally just being so good at playing dice.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. So the professor just sort of like, he sort of just looks like, exasperated but amused. Tosses his cards down.
And Sleeper kind of like grins and goes, "Aren't you glad we did not bet for apple slices this time?"
Yes.
Though I am beginning to find it difficult to believe he actually beat a god in chess.
Well, I did. He he said that we couldn't leave his dimension, his demi-plane, uh, un- unless uh, well, actually, I don't think he set the challenge. I said if I beat him at chess, he'd have to let us go. Um, and I did beat him at chess, and I did it while my traveling companions and I were being put in mortal peril, also by this annoying person.
I suppose what you need then is mortal peril to pit me.
He just sort of like squids.
Sleeper gives a grin and goes, "Don't worry, I'm not going to punch you to a pet of sharks just for a challenge." But perhaps we can bet on something to make the next game more exciting for you.
Mm, perhaps.
Hmm.
Uh, he thinks for a moment. Can you have nectar?
I apologize. Sorry, what?
Can you have nectar? The drink.
Oh, uh, Sleeper kind of goes, "Well, yes, of course."
Hmm. All right. Uh,
And
I'll be.
Ambrosia as well, although I rarely drank those. I spent much of my company with mortals and a teenager, and I did not particularly want to place them in places where they might have been reached.
Fair. Well, I'll pour a glass, and whoever wins gets it.
Hmm. I suppose that's a fitting. I suppose that's a fitting reward.
Uh huh. So he does go back in
And
the pantry and get a bottle, which is uh probably about halfway empty at this point.
Sleeper kind of looks at how it's halfway empty, and he goes, Have you been drinking from it?" Or,
Yeah, over the past 600 years,
that makes more sense. I
and
thought the stress stuff. I thought the stress of the past few months had driven you to drink.
say that again.
He thought that the stressful situations that's been happening recently drove Professor to drink half the bottle, and he was like, "Damn, he drank half the bottle of
Oh please, it doesn't even get me drunk.
Hmm. I do miss my tolerance, deeper hopeful and stuff get poured off.
It is a small glass. It's like a not a shot. It's more like a I don't know. It's like a what do people drink like brandy like tequila whatever. It's a small
It's a
glass.
shot. That's a shot.
Is it okay?
The small glass, right? I'm pretty sure those are called shot glass.
But there are bigger ones. Like there are ones that are like bigger than that, but they don't fill. But they don't hold like a full cup of something.
Yeah, I think you're looking for these ones. They are called shot glasses, but they're quite small.
Um, I'm thinking of something a little bigger than that. I'm thinking of maybe like a half cup glass. I just
Oh,
uh,
they're not a shot glass. I don't know what they're called.
yeah.
These ones? Hold on, let me grab.
Uh, that looks like a shot glass to me.
Tragic. Neither of us like drink enough alcohol for this.
Whatever. It's a little more than it's a little more than the shot glasses you put in there. That's how much.
Hmm. So, do we roll again to see like who wins?
Uh-huh.
And Dark One's luck has been like wasted. So, oh my God, sleeper.
Well, fittingly, um, to your nat 20, the professor got a well, he rolled a 3, but his total is 8.
Yeah. So, Professor, somehow you get beaten even worse this time.
Uh-huh.
I imagine you're probably playing the version without dice this time to
uh-huh.
like give like Professor like a better like playing field. But
Uh-huh.
even without the proficiency, that's still a nat 20.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. He just sort of like runs his hand through his hair. Well, you're good at
I
this.
believe this is my class.
Yeah.
Yes, I did say enjoy games. Over like take the drink. He is like looking at the nectar. It is very good alcohol, and he will take that. Thank you very much.
Nice.
I would ask for another game with nectar at stake, but at the rate these things are going, I don't particularly want to drink myself silly tonight.
Probably for the best.
I suppose. How about this? If I win again, you give me, I suppose, a seed from your garden.
Oh, certainly. And if I
Let's
win,
do it.
he just shrugs. Seed from yours.
All right. Um, a deal is a deal, then.
All right.
Gotta do your roll again.
Yeah. Okay,
Dear God.
that's on its side. I couldn't read that. Let's try that again. Okay, pretty sure Sleeper wins because this is only 11. It's better,
Yeah,
but it's not
just
it's not good enough.
just roll a professor roll. Like it's not double actually. For the listening audience, Sleeper rolled a 22
Mhm.
and Professor rolled an 11. And I must be clear that Sleeper does not have expertise in this or anything.
Nope. I
He has
think
just been consistently rolling higher on the dice.
yeah, Professor actually has a slightly higher modifier because he has the 4 for proficiency and +1 for intelligence, but he just keeps rolling like shit.
Yeah. And like game is at least not as one-sided
Yeah.
as the other two, but like it's still not like Professor's not winning at any point.
Uh-huh. Yeah. No. It probably takes a little bit longer for Sleeper to win, but he does win.
Yeah. And Sleeper kind of like puts on the cards like, and I believe that's victory number two.
Drat. All right. Do you have a flower in mind?
Hmm. And Sleeper kind of taps like a finger on his chin and goes, "Those red flowers, poppies.
Yes.
I would like a seed from those."
All right. Easy enough.
Hmm. And do you happen to have any lilies somehow?
Yes, I do.
If I could have one of those as well.
You're pushing it, but sure.
I did beat you 3 times. Would you like me to beat you a fourth time?
No.
I'm so sorry, Professor. Like, Sleeper has such a huge, like, shit-eating grin. Like, his grin is, like, all teeth.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
And I do mean all teeth. He does have, like, actual fangs.
Uh-huh. Uh,
Think of it this way. If I were any other fiend, you would be losing your soul rather than a few flower seeds.
oh, possibly. Uh, Usually when if I have to bet my soul against something, it's something I have a better chance at winning at.
Fair kind of, like, blinks at Professor. Goes, if you weren't, like, good at this game, why tell me about it at all?
I am good at this game. Against normal people.
I'm so sorry. This running gag of Professor actually being good at certain games, but he's just like constantly like losing to Sleeper.
Yeah. I don't know what
And he,
I don't know what the deal is, but I can't seem to win against you.
that is true of most people, so do not worry about it all too much.
It yeah. He just looks frustrated because he knows he's good.
We can continue this some other day, perhaps a game of chess or something of that sort.
All right.
But like, but yeah, Sleeper will like stand up and go to and stand up and go. Hmm. So we have to tee out in the garden then.
Yes. Actually,
And huh?
oh, I was going to say that reminds me. There is actually like a sort of sitting area in the garden that I didn't mention before. That's
Hmm.
kind of in the middle of like everything, um, and it's just really nice. It's just got some nice, outdoor furniture. Um, and usually, when you go out there, there's like a bowl of fruit on the table.
Ooh, are there apples?
Um, there's probably at least one or two apples. There's a few other things that are like kind of alien looking. um,
You do, Professor, you do notice that like Asukasa's will fruits or as the both of them like sit in the sitting area
uh,
or such, like you do notice Sleeper's like tail sneak out to like grab like the apples. And I do mean like the apples, like picking out like every single apple in that bowl.
takes the one that's visible and digs around for the other two.
Basically.
Oh my gosh. You really like those, huh?
I have I have good taste. And like he kind of like he bites at an apple and God, God, Sleeper, I know you're fucking bullying him, but don't like say that.
What?
Because what he handed me was like after he says I have good taste, like biting an apple, I'm going, I kissed you, didn't I?
Do it.
God, fine. He bites the apple and like kind of like winks at Professor and goes, I kissed you, didn't I?
You
And
do
then he
have
goes
good
back to
taste.
eating the apple.
You do have good
Hmm.
taste.
Thank you. I'm glad someone recognizes it. Uh, but yeah, we could end the FPS there.
Yes,
Oatmeal.
absolutely. Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah, that was fun. Nice. Thank you
I
for.
can't believe the Sleeper won 3 times in a row, though.
Yeah, that was great.
Like, it made sense, but like the fact that he did,
Uh huh. Oh boy. Well, yeah,
But yeah,
yeah,
this was fun. Thank you for
yeah,
like having this.
yeah. Thank you for playing with me.
Hmm.
All right, that's gonna do it for us. Gonna wish our audience a good time zone. Bye.